Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A post office worker has been left shaken after she was threatened with a taser during a terrifying armed robbery today. Police launched a major manhunt around Evandale to track down the suspect, but he remains on the run.
James Brown had just returned from his mail run when he heard the alarming news. His wife had been held up by a man brandishing a taser at the couple's post office in Evandale.
She was frightened. She was, under duress.
Police say the suspect entered the building around 10 a.m. He demanded access to a safe and fled with cash.
He's described as 6'2" tall, with a distinct scar on his nose and a crooked nose as if it had been broken.
Police cordoned off surrounding streets, believing he had escaped in a green Holden Commodore.
Unfortunately, at this point, we haven't located the vehicle or the person.
The owner says this isn't the first time his post office has been targeted. You can see here marks left on a previous attempt by thieves to break in.
The couple has lived in the adjoining house for the past 11 years. It was recently put up for sale.
We can't do anything about what's happened, but that's the way it is here at the moment.
Luckily, no one was injured during today's events.
To date in Launceston or the surrounding areas of Launceston, there hasn't been a great deal of crimes of this nature. So this is really disappointing that this has happened in such a lovely town.
Police are now relying on witnesses to provide more information. If you can help, contact Crime Stoppers. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
More than 100 Tasmanians are dying in hospitals every year because of bed block, according to a damning new report. Health analyst Martin Goddard says Tasmania needs an extra 300 hospital beds to cope with demand. But Premier Peter Gutwein says the report has no credibility.
41 pages on the health of hospitals summarised in 5 short words.
Constant crisis meetings, chaos.
A crisis claiming lives, according to analyst Martin Goddard. He argues between 100 and 125 patients have died because of bed block, with a worrying spotlight now on Launceston.
Because that hospital has the worst bed block in the country, of all the public hospitals in the country.
His other findings: hospital staff could take on an extra 20 to 25,000 admissions, but can't because there aren't enough beds. New beds required number 300, with another 50 needed each year to keep up with demand. Doctors say they're worn out at work and worn out by debate.
I am getting sick of it. It is hard when you can see a problem and you can see a solution and you feel like you're talking into a void.
The government yesterday announced a shake-up of health service management to improve local decision-making. The Premier is pointing to an extra $60 million announced for health earlier this month, but he says this analyst's report has little credibility.
Mr Goddard has whinged about all of these things right along and he's been proven to be manifestly incorrect.
Doctors fear they'll still be campaigning in the years to come.
I hope not. I hope not.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
In a blow for local producers, a Chinese icebreaker has cancelled a scheduled stop in Hobart at the last minute, leaving suppliers high and dry. But a different icebreaker, the French vessel L'Australian, is finally on its way south, months after significant damage disrupted its mission.
The Astrolabe returning to service. After a short stop in Hobart, the French icebreaker is finally heading south, embarking on a critical resupply mission to Antarctica.
We are providing some fresh food, equipment, spare parts, some special Antarctic blends, some fuel, just for the station.
The voyage has been a long time coming. In November, the ship was stranded on our docks, suffering a broken propeller shaft. Sent to Fremantle for repairs, putting the trip significantly behind schedule.
Oh, it was unexpected, probably because the vessel is new. So when we had the issue, we decided to repair as soon as possible.
The fault left dozens of crew members stranded in Antarctica waiting to be picked up. Australia stepping in to help.
Step by step we are improving the vessel, so we do believe that it will be okay. For the end of this season it's okay, and for next year we are very confident. No problem.
Another icebreaker, China's Shore Long, was meant to stop here in Hobart on Saturday, but it's cancelled the resupply trip last minute. It's an unexpected change that's left local producers reeling.
They were going to take a significant amount of Tasmanian produce and fuel from Hobart during this port call, and now that won't happen, unfortunately.
Saying the change is believed to have been caused by some sort of technical issue with the ship's Antarctic program, forcing the suppliers to sell their produce, mainly fresh food, elsewhere. A missed opportunity in what was meant to be a step forward for our Antarctic industry. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian school has issued a warning to parents nearly a fortnight after reports were first made of a stranger approaching students. Prospect High School has acknowledged on Facebook an incident involving children being approached, adding students should, for their own safety, walk in pairs or groups if possible. Tasmania Police says it has spoken with the driver of an old red car being driven in the area on February 7. A report has also been made about a man allegedly filming children near another Launceston school. Police are appealing to the public for more information. One of the state's fastest growing areas is set to become much bigger, with the Tasmanian government taking new steps forward in a plan to build a school at Lagana. Construction is expected to be complete by 2024 and is poised to bust traffic congestion.
Lagana father Jade Hall experiences the everyday difficulties of sending his young family through the school gates, especially when the nearest primary school, Riverside, is nearly 15 minutes away.
It's not too bad working in Launceston, but it still is the whole traffic and getting to and from the school.
But there is relief in sight. The government hopes its $20 million pledge to build a school in the fast-moving area will be complete in 4 years.
Over the next decade, it's forecast to grow to more than 12,000 people.
Just in time to welcome Jade's youngest into the classroom.
Not only my children, but yeah, all the future children are going to need another school.
The government today opening up the first round of community consultations on the much anticipated plan.
We're keen to listen to what the community have to say in terms of what they would like their school, which they've fought hard for, to look like.
The site of the new school is currently undecided. Labor questions if the groundwork is being done quick enough.
We hope that the government don't repeat in Lagana their process in Brighton, and the Brighton community are still in limbo.
When built, the council expects the learning centre will also ease rush hour traffic gridlock.
I think it will. I think that a school in Lagana will be a very attractive proposition.
The 6-week consultation will conclude with a community forum. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A worker aboard the Australian icebreaker Aurora Australis has been instructed not to use the ship as part of her political protests. The contractor for P&O put up a banner and posted it to social media, but the company has since told her not to undertake similar activities in the future as they don't comply with its policies on the use of its assets. Since our report yesterday, the original post showing a banner on the ship has been removed from social media. A Tasmanian whisky brand is set to be returned into family hands for the first time in nearly 7 years. Overeem has been owned by Bill Lark's Australian Whisky Holdings since 2014 when it was sold by Casey Overeem. But in a decision announced today, it's been sold back to the founder's daughter, who's now also in the whisky business.
We're so excited. I think it's a bit of an understatement to say that we are excited. I think the last 6 years it's definitely been in capable hands of Australian Whisky Holdings, but yeah, we're very excited that it's now going to be back in ours.
The sale is set to be finalised in June. Tasmanians are still digging deep to support bushfire devastated communities interstate. 2 cast members from Big Monkey Theatre's summer performance reuniting in character to donate more than $1,000 to Wildlife Victoria.
We were playing Australian characters, Australian bush characters. We wanted to support the funds that support the animals that were hurt in the bushfires.
The money was raised by audience contributions at the end of every show. Meanwhile, a recent bushfire charity concert in Launceston has raised $82,000 to help fire-ravaged communities doing it tough.
100% of the funds that were raised on the evening are being given to the Rotary Appeal.
The money will be shared amongst Rotary clubs across the nation, but organisers are encouraging any Tasmanian clubs affected to apply for funding.
We begin sport tonight with some good news for a local motorsport ace. Only months after walking away from a frightening Formula 3 crash, Tasmanian Alex Peroni has announced his comeback to the sport. The 20-year-old is re-signing with Campos Racing ahead of the season opener in Bahrain next month.
In September last year, Alex Peroni was lucky to walk away from this horror crash in Italy.
That is a horrific sight.
Today, nearly 6 months later, he's announced a long-awaited comeback.
I'm really excited to finally announce I'm staying on board with Campos for 2020 in the FIA F3 Championship. It's been a bit of a long road from that Monza crash to this point.
A few months ago, I wouldn't have predicted that Alex would be back racing, given I was there when the accident happened.
It's been a long road to recovery, with Alex wearing a back brace for 3 months after the crash, undergoing intensive training and rehabilitation to return to racing form.
He's fully healed, and if he is in pain at times, he certainly doesn't mention it to me, but he looks happy, he looks determined, and he's just keen just to get back into the car and race.
I can't thank all my supporters enough for getting me this far. I mean, everyone came on board and backed me after that crash, and the support was incredible.
Alex has spent the last few weeks settling into his European base in Spain, undergoing practice with the Campos Racing team. Working with a personal trainer daily, proud father Piero says he's in fine racing form, ready for the challenge ahead.
He's as fit as he was before the accident. He's worked extraordinarily hard to get back to where he is now, and I think Alex will be better than ever this year.
Peroni's dream is set to become a reality when he races in the first round of the F3 season on March 20 in Bahrain. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening, everyone. Rain across most of the state today, with Burnie reaching 20 degrees, Devonport 17, 16 in Hobart and Launceston only 14. Smitherton and Strawn the top today with 21 degrees, 20 in Ouse, King Island 19, Grove 17 and 16 on Flinders Island. There was a mid-level cloud band over the east of the state today, circling into a low in the Tasman Sea. Across the rest of the country, extensive low-level cloud sits over the oceans to the south of the mainland. Thunderstorms are seen over the west and north of Australia. Tomorrow, a broad low-pressure system can be seen over the Tasman Sea. A high-pressure ridge moves into the Bight, while a large area of low pressure sits over the north of Australia. South to southwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, tending 20 to 30 knots in the east tomorrow. And there is a strong wind warning current for northern, eastern and southern coastal waters from Stanley to Low Rocky Point, excluding Banks Strait and Franklin Sound. Hobart, a shower or two and 19 tomorrow, Cygnet and New Norfolk both 19. Mostly sunny and 24 in Launceston, 22 in Devonport and Campbelltown 21. Burnie 21, showers and 17 in Strawn and 19 in Smitherton, and 21 in St Helens and Swansea and partly cloudy and 22 in Fingal. The UV for tomorrow is very high across the state. Looking on to Friday now, showers about the west and far south, clearing in the afternoon. Fine with light winds on Saturday, and on Sunday, fine again with light winds. 35 with possible storms in Perth tomorrow, 23 in Adelaide, Sydney and Brisbane mostly sunny. And currently Hobart 15 and cloudy, Launceston mostly clear and 17, and mostly clear and 17 in Devonport. And Murph, it looks like this rain might be clearing.
Well, some like it, some don't. Thanks very much for that, Chelsea. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. Good night.